Run.
Everybody, and welcome once again to On the Run. And yes, finally out of Macau, and here we are at G2E Asia, Singapore. Yes, the special edition, and we're right here at booth B1216, and there's just a few minutes to go on day 3. Here we are at the IAG booth. You can see behind us the lovely IAG booth, and they're just about to break down the show, and we're going to give you On the Run for this week from Singapore. So let's start off in Macau with the news of the week. GEG's Francis Loy discusses Macau foreign visitation in a video that we released in IAG as a teaser for our June magazine cover. And we had an in-depth interview with Francis on the cover of June, so please go to asgam.com, asgam.com, to read that interview. It's a really in-depth interview with Francis. It's a great interview, and he talks about things he's never talked about before. It's only been out a day or so, and it's already got, I think, 1,000 views, which is great. So that's a really, really good interview to read, and a great cover for us in June. What else happened this week? Well, Sands China Limited honoured the founder, Sheldon Adelson, of course, at the Londoner grand opening, their US $2 billion upgrade of Sands Cotai Central to the Londoner. I was there at the opening. Thank you very much to Sands for inviting me. And there I managed to say a few words with Dr. Miriam Adelson, with Rob Goldstein. Of course, Dr. Wilfred Wong, Grant Chum was there. Anybody who was anybody for Sands certainly was there, as were a number of high flyers. Lawrence Ho was there, Linda Chen was there. There were even people from the Wynn Resorts in the US board. The new non-executive director, their CFO, was there, and it was just a great night. Of course, David Beckham was there, and it was just a great night of fun and entertainment, and gala dinner as well. So that was just a great night, and very good for Macau to have something so positive. Now, also on the theme of Sands, still Sands China Limited to invest a lot more, according to Rob Goldstein, a lot more than had previously been pledged to Macau. Chairman and CEO Rob Goldstein proclaimed his confidence in the market. You will all remember from IAG's extensive coverage last year that Sands has pledged $3.8 billion to invest over the next 10 years as part of retaining its concession, of which $3.5 billion will be spent on non-gaming. But Rob Goldstein said in this past week that number doesn't matter because they're going to spend a lot more. The only comment that I would make on that is I don't think all of that spending will qualify for the non-gaming spend. There are certain qualifications, needs to be spent on certain things, but nevertheless they're planning to spend a lot of money over the next decade, and so far so good. The numbers are coming back in Macau, so waiting it out through COVID might have been the right thing to do. It was probably the only thing they could do. Also still in Macau, the hotel occupancy rate for April was published this week, and it was close to 80%. That's up 50 percentage points year on year, of course, because of the removal of COVID restrictions. It's up 3 percentage points on March, and we welcomed 1.1 million guests to Macau in the month of April, so Macau is well and truly back. It's AGM season at the moment in Macau. The AGMs generally have to be held at this sort of time of the year, and MGM China has had its AGM and re-elected, of course, Pansy Ho and Bill Hornbuckle. Pansy Ho, of course, the co-chairman, and Bill Hornbuckle too. Bill representing the MGM in the US. Also, Chen Yao Wong resigned from the board and was replaced by Jenny Lau, who has long-standing connections to Pansy Ho, to Shuntak, and various other connected companies. Michael Coughlan is now off the Wynn Macau board, replaced by Julie Cameron-Doe. I mentioned before, the CFO for Wynn Resorts. Ian will stay as an advisor to Wynn Resorts, or to Wynn Macau, till the end of 2023. And Julie, of course, coming now onto the board for the former Aristocrat CFO, and actually I had a very nice chat to her at the Londoner opening, a lovely lady. Now let's go on to the Philippines, and Genting Hong Kong has sold its stake in Newport World Resorts to the former JV partner, Andrew Tan's Alliance Global, Of course, regular readers of IAG will remember that Genting Hong Kong went bankrupt with $2.8 billion in debts as a direct result of the pandemic. The cruise ship business was lost, and so one of its assets was its share in Newport World Resorts, or then Resorts World Manila, and that company now becomes the second all-Filipino IR and gaming company in the Philippines, the first of course being Enrique Rizon's Solaire. Still in the Philippines, Suntrust got a US $6 million, or agreed to a US $6 million loan from LET Group Chairman Andrew Lowe. There was no, in the filing, there was no mention of the failure by Suntrust to pay $6 million to its subsidiary, Summit Ascent, which of course runs the integrated resorts Tigre de Cristal in Vladivostok. But it's kind of coincidental, it's the same amount of money, $6 million. In April, the company said that they were seeking more funds in order to complete the West Side Integrated Resort. And I'll just pause for a moment while they make that announcement here at G2E Singapore, no doubt announcing the end of the show. Hopefully my microphone is picking mainly me up and not what they're saying. We'll just wait for that to go through. Okay, and now we're back. They just finished making that announcement here at the Marina Bay Sands Expo at G2E Asia. The show is closing around me as I speak, so I better do this pretty quickly. Yes, just finishing that story off. Open late 2024 is the plan for Westside, so let's see if that really happens or not, but that is the plan for Westside for another entertainment city integrated resort. Now, still in the Philippines, the police chief, the head of the Philippines National Police, General Benjamin Acorda Jr., has ordered a crackdown on illegal gambling, and this is something that is obviously going on at the moment with the issue of the pogos. There's been a lot of action, legal action against the pogos in the Philippines. They're trying to clean that industry up so that it can remain in the Philippines, obviously. And following on in that theme, PADCOR cancelled the entire Sun Valley Clark Pogo Hub accreditation. So you might remember that in the last week or two, IAG's reported that the main service provider to that Pogo, CGC Technologies, they lost their service provider accreditation. Now the accreditation for the entire hub there at Sun Valley is gone. This is the same complex up at Clark that D Heights Resort and Casino is at. So that is no more a pogo. It's now a no-go, as the PADCOR likes to call them. Down to Australia now, and Crown Resorts during the week settled with AUSTRAC, the financial regulator in Australia, and will now be coughing up a whopping US $300 million, well, Australian 450 million actually. I think it comes out to be US 293 million, and this resolves all the civil penalty proceedings that were currently taking place by AUSTRAC against Crown Melbourne and Crown Perth. That's a lot of money, but Blackstone's got a lot of money, the new owners of Crown, so I guess it's part of putting the past behind them. And in fact, CEO Kieran Carruthers, who many of you will know as formerly Wynn Resorts COO, Wynn Macau, so I should say Wynn Macau Property COO. Kieran, a good friend to many of us here at IAG. He now is the CEO of Crown Resorts and has been for a while, and he made a lengthy statement in relation to this settlement. And he apologised for the failings of past administrations of Crown. He was at great pains to say that the company Crown now bears very little resemblance to the company it was when it exhibited that behaviour that led to these fines. And in fact, he's absolutely correct. The board has been completely wiped out, bar I think one director. Maybe it's all directors actually. It's either 0 or 1. I can't remember off the top of my head. But it is basically a totally different board, a totally different executive suite. So good luck to Crown at putting these things behind them and moving forward under the new regime in Australia. Malaysia now, where I will be going shortly. Genting Malaysia, a recovery a little bit slower in Q1 of this year, blamed on the slower return of international players. I think that's code for slower return of players from China to Malaysia, and also blamed a little bit on very heavy rainfall up there at Genting Highlands, or Resorts World Genting as I should call it now. It hasn't been Genting Highlands for a while. In January and February, there was actually a landslide up there in December which blocked part of the road. So their adjusted EBITDA was 128 million US for the quarter, and actually they made a bottom line net loss of US 10 million But as I say, I'll be going up there on Friday, spending the weekend up there, and also Monday meeting some executives up there, and I'll be able to learn from them firsthand. Now to Japan, and in the conference we just had at G2E Asia here upstairs, a Japanese professor, Professor Toro Mihara, who has been working on the integrated resort issue in Japan for 20 some years, came out of the conference and said that the Nagasaki IR is in danger of collapse. Of course, we just had MGM and Oryx Consortium approved to have an integrated resort in Osaka. The only other one application is for Nagasaki. It's a Casino Austria-led consortium, but there seems to be very little happening with that. The Japanese central government hasn't approved it, and he said, this is Professor Mihara, he said that if it's not certified by the central government in the next few months, the whole consortium may well collapse, and we may end up with just one integrated resort in Japan when originally there was meant to be 3. The Singaporean Deputy Prime Minister has come out and praised the Singaporean IRs, Marina Bay Sands, where I am sitting right now, and Resorts World Sentosa. He did this in Japan, and he offered support to Japan. So the Deputy PM, Lawrence Wong, Deputy PM of Singapore, Lawrence Wong, has said that the 2 IRs, since they opened in 2010, have provided major economic benefits for Singapore. They put Singapore on the map as an international tourist destination, and he promised to aid Japan in their IR development, and said that the 2 countries could learn from each other. Well, quite frankly, he has to say that. I would say that Japan's got a lot more to learn from Singapore than what Singapore's got to learn from Japan. And these comments came in a Q&A session following his speech at a Nikkei forum. The media group in Japan, Nikkei, does these forum events, as many media groups do. They do events, and this is what he said there. I'm still with the conference, back to the conference now, and an expert on Thailand and the possibility of IRs in Thailand, Udorn Olsen, who spoke at the conference upstairs here that we've just had in the last few days, did a trade talk with our very own Ben Blaschke. Catch it on asgam.com, asgam.com, and he spoke about Thailand's vision for legalized casino gaming and offered some very, very interesting comments. So I would encourage you to go to our website and check that out. Nearly there. RGB books a US $2.3 million profit in Q1, so well done to RGB, back in the black, making money. That's a 197% increase year on year in revenue, way out of the pandemic now, and their revenue for Q1 this year was 21 million. They made a profit of 2.3 million on that, so congratulations to Stephen Lim and all his team at RGB. Well, that's it for this week. My run continues. I now hang out here in Singapore for one more night tonight, and then Thursday night. You'll be watching this on Friday morning, and I get the Genting Dream tomorrow night, Friday night, up to KL, be up there for the weekend, and for Monday meeting with some senior executives of Genting Malaysia, which will be great. It'll be good to see what's going on up there. Hopefully I can avoid the landslide. Then I'll be back down to Marina Bay Sands on Wednesday for the Macau showcase, where Macau will be showcased at Marina Bay Sands at Singapore. After that, I'll head to Cambodia. I'll be in both Phnom Penh and Sihanoukville for quite some time, then over to Manila for a while, finally back to MGM in Macau for our mad event on June 27 at Ahi Restaurant, the Japanese Peruvian fusion. So look out for your invitation for that, and if you do get an invitation, please do RSVP. That's going to be a great night on Tuesday, June 27, with all the team from IAG. And then of course it'll be G2E Asia in Macau, July 11, 12 and 13, and keep an eye out for a very special little item on July 12 from IAG. There'll be more news about that very soon. So that's it for this week. Have a great weekend, and I will be coming at you next Thursday from Cambodia. See you then. Bye for now.
Run.